Well, it seems local markets have taken enormous knocks with factors like the Steinhoff debacle, which we mentioned, of course, and there has been a lot of volatility offshore as well. So where does one invest these days, locally or offshore? Vimal Chagan is the Divisional Director of Liberty Investments. He joins me now. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, of course, everybody wants to know, where do you invest? Tell us about the economic factors involved, and let's start locally first.
Okay, so in the local environment, first and foremost, confidence is the most important thing. If there's no confidence in the local economy, our stock markets, our bond markets will react negatively. So the presidential investment summit that was held last week was a great first step where we've had 290 billion rands odd, which was pledged for investment into the local market. The second thing that you need in South African, for South African markets to perform, especially the stock market, is you need profits to increase. And for profits to increase, what you're really looking for is GDP growth, lower unemployment, and more money in the hands of people so that they can spend and improve the profitability of local companies. Of course, in the South African market, we've got two different factors at play. A large portion of the JSE is dominated by offshore shares or rand-edged shares. Examples of those, Naspers, Anglos, Billiton, etc., Richemont, etc. Those companies are priced offshore. Their profits are driven mainly by overseas factors, whereas the local companies, like the banks and a few consumer companies, they are priced based on local fundamentals. Bond markets, a bit different. They're also looking for good GDP growth, but most importantly, you are looking at inflation and whether the Reserve Bank has got inflation under control.
So let's talk about those global factors a bit more. Brexit comes to mind for me, as well as trade wars. I mean, that's something that you will look at quite closely if you actually do want to invest.
Yes, of course. So in the global environment, with the rise of Donald Trump as the president of the USA and his economics, or Trump economics as they call it, the whole global economic system is entering uncharted territory. Firstly, you've got trade wars where Donald Trump wants to look at America first, and his economic policies is really driving American employment and American trade within its own borders. That certainly leads to a different dynamic because you've got countries that have built their economies on exporting goods to the US, which are now under threat. That whole export sector is under threat, and of course China is one of those. India is another one of those countries who exports manpower predominantly in the IT sector. At the same time, what you have is you've got Brexit and all the uncertainty around Brexit. All right, so Brexit is actually quite a serious matter for global markets. I think we don't feel it as much in South Africa because we are so far removed from it. But certainly people in the UK and in Europe are greatly affected by what the outcomes could be on Brexit.
Yeah.
The reality is you've got trade under threat. What's going to happen with the EU and the UK? What's going to happen with free movement of capital, free movement of goods and services, and also free movement of people? Those have been the issues that have been underpinning the whole EU, and that has come under threat. So those are the main issues, global economic issues, which are weighing on international markets at the moment.
So given all of that locally and globally, how does that actually impact on a person's decision to invest?
Yeah. So an investor's decision to invest really comes down to their own personal circumstances. You know, we all talk about, do you have a financial plan? Right? Do you know what you are saving for? As an example, to yourself, to myself, do we have an emergency fund? Because anything can happen over the next 3 months or the next 6 months. Do we have that in play? What are our short-term goals? What are our medium and long-term goals? Everyone's goals are different. So have you saved appropriately for that? Now, when it comes to where do you put your money? Yes, you'll take exposure to stock markets, to bond markets. You'll go into a multi-asset portfolio, meaning equities, bonds, cash. And really what you are exposing yourself to in that space are the different drivers of performance for each of those asset classes and the skills of the fund managers that are managing your money for you. Traditionally, that's how the investments game has been played out. However, there are different investment instruments which give you different payoff profiles. And that is quite an exciting territory to be playing in today's market.
All right, thank you so much for your time and your insights. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.